Hi everyone, thanks for joining me on the new Ethan Hart guitar site. My name is Greg Bennett. Because we're a new brand, I thought it really important to attempt an explanation of how we see our responsibilities as a company. And this in terms of the business perspective, the company culture that evolves from that, the products that we produce, and most importantly, the customers that we serve, the players. But first, just a few quick words about the word customer. We've been putting this brand together over the last couple years, and as you might suspect, the word customer came up a great deal. And it seemed that the more it came up, the more it began to eat at me. There was something just unsettling about it. If you're selling industrial adhesives or ball bearings or lumber or iron ore or something of that nature, and two companies or two people come together and they agree on a deal that's mutually beneficial to both, everyone's happy. Everyone is better off than before the deal. And in that context, nobody gives the word customer a second thought. But something here, it just seemed wrong. A guitar is something that a person is going to make music with. It's something that they'll use to express themselves in ways that might be deeply personal. And it can be something that plays a significant role in a person's life's dreams, and the word customer just seemed inappropriate or wrong. The frustrating thing was every word I tried to come up with as a substitute not only sounded worse, but some of them actually sounded as if there was some sort of agenda attached to it. So let me just say that we see the customer as a person that is deeply passionate about the guitar and making music. And that connection that we make ultimately is what allows us to do what we love the most. And we hope that that feeling grows to be mutual. There are an infinite number of ways to run or manage a business. When you break it down, though, there really are only two very different perspectives. In fact, they might be opposites, in fact. And the difference, the point of contention, is how you see the word profit. Every company needs to make a profit. I mean, this is what you pay for wages and rent and the things that you market. But it is how you see that profit generated that defines your philosophy or your perspective. Now, one perspective says that the key motivation for everything is profit. Every action is seen through a financial lens. Force in the form of financial capability and human will is what fuels this company. They're generally internally focused and have long since lost their creative spirit. And I say lost because not all companies start out this way. It just seems that after a while, just the burden of continually making payroll or rent sometimes shifts the perspective from creativity to bookkeeping. And when these companies experience trouble or problems or challenges, because everything is seen through that financial lens, they look for a financial solution. And they never stop and think that maybe they failed the customer. Maybe the innovation that drew those customers to them in the first place has faded. And they seem to have forgotten that the sole purpose, the only reason for the existence of a company is to create that customer. At Ethan Hart, we believe in a different perspective, a perspective that says that profit is simply a measure of performance. It's a measure of how well you're serving the customer. It's the report card. Financial success is a consequence of fresh, innovative ideas, ideas that inspire both the customer and the employees, ideas that make everybody feel as if they're part of something truly worthwhile. Success or growth is not something sought for its own sake. It's a reward for better serving the customer. Success is actually allowed to happen because of the validity or the vitality of the ideas rather than force of will. And in this context, there is no place for the arrogance that puts personal gain above the trust of the customer. And every single day offers another opportunity to earn that trust. And ironically, given the prevalence of the first perspective, the greatest companies in the world, the companies that give us wonderful innovations that improve our lives decades after decade, subscribe to this vision, and you can trust that it's our vision as well. Most people intimate with the guitar business, whether players or business people, I think, would eagerly submit that the last thing the world needs is another brand of guitars, the operative word there being another, as in more of the same. And as contradictory as this may appear, we agree. There is a seemingly limitless number of brands driven by the belief that they can satisfy players of every style and every budget and somehow still create a brand identity or a company culture. And most of the great business writers of the last 30 or 40 years would not only disagree, but they would say that it's impossible. And I think a lot of the catastrophic business failures that we're seeing today are a result of this. We believe, however, that an innovative brand, dedicated in this case to a heavier style of music, and the players that make and often live that music, is not only worthwhile, but needed. A brand in which every aspect of the guitar, sonically, mechanically, and visually, is seen through the eyes of those players, and tempered with a real empathy for the passion that drives them. You won't see traditional acoustics, jazz, classic, banjo, mandolin, or vintage-style guitars in the Ethan Hart line. Only high-performance electric guitars engineered to deliver pure sonic aggression. We don't make guitars to fill price points. We make guitars to satisfy the creative needs of our players. And the guitars will speak most convincingly for themselves. A player that takes ownership of an Ethan Hart guitar will initiate a long-term relationship, a connection with our people that'll be both respected and cherished. We have engineered our guitars to leverage the mechanical advantage of each of the key elements critical to a guitar's performance. This includes string path geometry, the nature and quality of the materials, construction technique, hardware, and pickups. They are then combined using design and construction techniques that further push the performance envelope. And finally, these extremes in string performance, mechanical power, and frequency bandwidth are captured with state-of-the-art Seymour Duncan blackout pickups. The result is exceptional sonic power and quality without sacrificing tone. The sonic character of these guitars demanded that the visual be equally aggressive while deadly professional. Novelty for the sake of novelty was not an option. Every visual element of the guitar is born of the same DNA. The headstock, inlay, body shape, hardware, and pickups are all viewed through the same aesthetic prism. As it turns out, the engineering that extends the boundaries of performance in these guitars also creates an instrument that captures the extremes of the player's passion. This might be called emotional dynamics. And when it comes to capturing this passion, it seems that the musical qualities that derive from the mechanical or physical qualities of the guitar are inherently more powerful than extremes that are created by circuitry. One carries with it a heartfelt, legitimate emotion. The other is merely a synthetic representation of that passion and feels somehow unnatural or empty or even phony. So you can trust that these guitars will capture every bit of passion and emotion that you can deliver up. In addition to helping shape your musical voice, it is our sincere hope that these guitars, Ethan Hart guitars, can serve as a threshold between your musical talent and the heart and soul of your audience.